Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Greg Raths here, who is a candidate for Congress. Well, welcome. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Well, we're down to the final 5 days, so
we sure are.
I am working so hard, but I'm doing really, really well. Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your candidacy. I know, you've been a prominent member of the City Council in Mission Viejo, and what are some of the things that you've been doing that kind of lead you up to this?
Yes, I'm in my 8th year on City Council in Mission Viejo. I was mayor in 2019, and one thing I'm proud about is those 8 years on City Council, we've had a balanced budget every year. Mm-hmm. We've had a surplus, so we're able to put some of that surplus money into a rainy day fund. So when COVID hit in March of 2020, a lot of these small businesses were having trouble staying afloat, and we gave out almost $1 million in grants. Wow. Grants meaning they don't have to pay it back, right, to keep them afloat, and now they're back and starting to thrive again. So I'm just so proud of that. We had $30 million in reserve, so we're able to help them to stay afloat. But I'm a strong proponent of small business, a member of the Mission Viejo Chamber of Commerce. Every week we meet, and they're doing well, and I'm just so proud to serve my community, and now I want to follow on to serve one more time, this time in Congress.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the items or the things that you think are important that need to be changed in Congress right now.
Okay, this one thing when I get to Congress, the number one issue that I want to get some type of legislation to return the United States back to energy independence. Because if the United States is energy independent, we drill our own gas and oil, and we're still waiting for a follow-on, some type of follow-on energy policy. But right now we're not ready. And President Biden immediately, when he took office, stopped drilling. He closed the pipelines, and so the oil industry just kind of stopped. They didn't know much about this Joe Biden, so how far he's going to go. Right. So as the drilling stopped and we became energy dependent again under President Trump, we were energy independent. As we became energy dependent again, we had to go to these countries like Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Iran for oil, and then the price has gone up. So we have our own oil. We'll be fine. You know, it can bring the price down of oil. It can bring the price down of diesel fuel because everything gets moved around, and that should bring down inflation. So that'd be the number one: is bring the United States back to energy independence. And I found this out by going door to door. The number one issue is an egg used to be 8 cents, now it's 28 cents. You know, gasoline was $3 and now it's $6.50. It's up to $7 in some parts. Right. So that's the number one issue, the pocketbook. And I found that out because I have a lot of small donors for my campaign, and they've been amazing. But once gas hit $6, the donations kind of stopped. And I can understand that because they need the money for food. They need the money for gasoline. Right, right. So that's the number one issue I want to work on when I'm in Congress. And I want to get along with everybody in Congress for the good of the country. I'm a senior, you know, like your viewing audience. I'm a senior, and I want to help seniors. And I understand Social Security, I understand Medicare because I'm on it both, and so that's where I want to go.
Well, there's a lot to tackle, and you know, it's going to be tough for whoever is going to be in Congress because there's so many things that are going on right now that I know you just want to jump in and do it all, but you have to take one step at a time.
Well, I'm a tough guy. I spent 30 years as a Marine Corps officer flying jet fighters around the world, mostly off of aircraft carriers, and retired at the rank of colonel, so I've been around the world, and I've been in 3 combat conflicts, Desert Storm being the largest, and I can handle Congress.
You can handle it.
I can.
And I saw your picture there, and of course the biggest movie right now is Top Gun Maverick, and that sounds like you.
That was me. I was a Top Gun, and I was a Top Hook. In 1993, I was on the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln. I was flying the F-18 Hornet. And every time you land your airplane, you get graded by what they call landing signal officer. Now, the 112 pilots on that carrier, I was ranked number 1 as a Top Hook for that cruise, and I was named the 1993 Tactical Pilot of the Year. So the movie Top Gun is coming out at a perfect time. We all went the other night. I rented out a whole theater in Mission Viejo, and we all watched it together. And my son, who's a F-18 aviator himself, he was there. Obviously my wife, and I wish my father was there because he was a World War II bomber pilot. Wow. So we have a legacy. My father, World War II bomber pilot. I was a fighter pilot. My son's an F-18 aviator. So that movie was pretty cool to watch.
Well, and also your history, you know, you're pro-defense, you're pro-military, and, you know, why is that so important to us at this time?
Well, when our country was founded, the federal government had three issues. They're supposed to maintain national security. That's the number one issue for the federal government. And the federal government's now exploded into energy, into education, and they're having trouble with that because they're not taking care of our borders. National security is to secure the borders, and we're seeing down in the southern border a lot of trafficking of drugs and child trafficking, sex trafficking. The cartels are getting rich, so they need to get a handle on that, and I want to work with that too when I get to Washington, because that's an issue. Number two, what the federal government's supposed to do is to print a common currency, because when the colonies were together, each of the different colonies had their own. So they're really good at printing money, and they need to get a handle on that, because that's another problem for inflation. And number three is to regulate interstate commerce, and they do a pretty good job at that. So. Okay. When I go to Washington, I want to kind of get back to the fundamentals, and I want to get on the budget committee. A lot of congressmen don't want to be on the budget committee because it's late night working. When my kids are raised, they have their own families now. It's just be myself and my wife. We'll be in Washington. So I want to finally get a handle on this budget.
Yeah.
And as you said, I'm a military man, I'm a national defense guy, but there's a lot of waste at the Pentagon. I worked at the Pentagon. I see some of these weapon systems that are just way overpriced, like this brand new F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. Me, a fighter pilot, I would think, what a great airplane, but it's way too expensive. $160 million for one airplane? Come on. Somebody's getting rich, and it's not the taxpayers. But so I want to get a handle on the military budget and the Pentagon budget, and plus reduce the size of government, because the states are supposed to have the powers, and then the counties, and then the cities. But it's just totally backwards right now. The federal government has so much power, and the states are so beholden to the federal government because the money goes to the federal, and if they want some money, they gotta, you know, give me money. So I don't like that. So I'm going to be one of 435 congressmen, but I'm going to make a mark.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing that and hearing all the things that you will be doing in Congress once you achieve that seat.
Well, there's a lot of ads out there. Please tell your listeners, I am not liberal. I've been called a lot of things in my life, but I've never been called liberal. But my opponents are just attacking, and I hope people aren't believing it. I'm very conservative. The Orange County Register sent all the candidates a survey, and of all the candidates, especially my number primary, I'm more conservative than her, but she keeps calling me liberal. I am not liberal. I am a tough fiscal hawk. I'm very conservative, both socially and economically, and financially.
Well, good luck to you, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We're very excited. Please vote. If you're not comfortable mailing in your ballot, go to your polling areas and vote for Greg Raths for Congress. A retired Marine. I have military experience. I have sitting elected official experience. I have business experience. I was president of a company for a number of years here in Anaheim.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
All right. If you want more information about Greg Raths, you can always go to his website, which is gregraths.com, and don't forget to vote on June 7th. We'll be right back.